Guys, welcome to the Caring for Creatures show. It's Jerry Miller. It's good to be with you on a gorgeous Thursday across Charlottesville and Central Virginia. I'm very excited to be with you today as we spotlight Caring for Creatures, Central Virginia's first no-kill animal sanctuary, doing special things in Fluvanna County. If you could give this program a like and a share like Heather D. just did. Jim Hamlet, welcome to the show. Aaron Slow, welcome to the show. That would mean the world to us. We're going to spotlight a lot on today's program, including a fabulous story of Buddy the dog.
That's right.
Who has had a second shot at really enjoying a rejuvenated and high level of quality of life, despite a disability that would set back many animals. I think on that note, Harris Tolber's our director. We'll go to the studio cam, and then we'll welcome Mary to the show. We often start, Mary, with the week that was at CFC.
Yes, absolutely.
And I see you
I have
some notes.
Lots of notes for everybody. So first off, as always, we thank all of our sponsors. We appreciate the Charlottesville Veterinary Hospital folks. Dr. Marty, you know we love you, and all of your staff. The Happy Tales folks, you know, what's more fun than Happy Tales, you know? Great store out in Fluvanna County. And Pet Supplies Plus. Oh my gosh, you guys have been listening. We had this big delivery of Redford Naturals bags of food.
Awesome.
Pet Supplies Plus was doing a special campaign, and if you bought a 5-pound bag or larger of the dog or cat dry food at Redford Naturals, you'd get 10% off your entire order. And we just had one of our volunteers pick up a whole bunch of the bags that people, so thank you. And please keep it coming. It's a huge help. Some of the good news I have are some happy homes.
Yes.
And I'm sure some of these names may be familiar from past shows, but they've now been finalized into their home. Lindsay is now final as of today. Her new name is Lasso, like a cowgirl. Lasso. She's living with horses. And she's a working dog type. It's a perfect match for her. Emma is now called Abby, but she went to live with in a Fluvanna home with Emmett, who was also adopted from us some years back. Lainey is now on hold for adoption. She goes Saturday. Casey is on hold. She's another dog going home a little later in the month. Lillian and Valerie. You know how much we've been pushing Valerie?
Quite a bit.
Yeah, quite a bit. Well, those two kitties went to the same home.
Oh.
This week, yeah. Isn't
Excellent.
that great? And Pumpkin, senior kitty, going to his new home. So all that is great. One other thing I want to announce, and this is new, Caring for Creatures is announcing a matching gift campaign.
Love it.
Called A Match Made in Heaven, which all those I just talked about are matches made in heaven. We have a $10,000 matching gift challenge. One of our wonderful long-term donors and volunteers, Donna Horan, is challenging all of us to make some donations. She'll match them dollar for dollar from now through July 20th. Up to $10,000. So go to our website. You can make a donation that way. We do have the campaign letter. Should be out in the mail very soon.
I saw the e-newsletter.
You saw the e-newsletter.
Came out today.
Good. Okay, good. So we have the paper announcement coming out probably early next week to your home. So, but you can visit our website now and select a match made in heaven from the special donation area. And get us going.
Caringforcreatures.org, caringforcreatures.org, the website.
Mm-hmm.
Sandy Van Nostran says, yay for Lainey. This makes me so happy.
Yes, Lainey is great.
Susan Blakeney, who's watching in
Susan.
Connecticut, she says
Yep.
CFC loves Radar. And she's replying to raising aid for dogs at risk, the Radar dogs, who commented on the show and on the stream today, and they said, we absolutely love Caring for Creatures.
Oh, and we love you guys. You make it happen.
Sandy
They're
says, I
wonderful
see
group.
the campaign going for the matching donation.
Yes. Yeah, just started.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you know, one of the things we're excited to show you, and was it one of your team members that took this video?
Yes, Mallory.
Yeah. Mallory?
Mallory's
awesome. We
Yeah.
love Mallory on this show. Set the stage for the video.
Okay, so the video you're going to be seeing is Buddy. Buddy is a 15-year-old corgi, and his human the last couple of years, loved her boy, and for his birthday, she would invite her friends to lunch, and everyone, rather than bringing a gift, would bring a check payable to Caring for Creatures in Buddy's honor for his birthday, and they would all come out in mass to the sanctuary and give the dollars and what have you. This year, his birthday is early April, and the luncheon was planned. The folks went to the luncheon and very sadly found Buddy's mom had passed away. Mm-hmm. So it was a very sudden shock, and Caring for Creatures agreed to take care of Buddy. So Buddy arrived. He's doing well, friendly. Buddy has some weakness and inability to use fully his hindquarters, and he kind of drags himself around just a little bit. And our guest Kat met him and can talk about him too later. But anyway, one of our volunteers, George, who is in the video, knows corgis, has had them, and he supported the cost of a wheelchair for Buddy. And the video you're seeing is his first time using the wheelchair. And Buddy loves squeaky toys.
Inspiring story.
Yes, Buddy loves squeaky toys. So you're going to hear that. But George is encouraging Buddy to make those wheels move, and he did very quickly. It's very fun.
So why don't we do this? Harris Tolber, get your mic ready. I'm going to throw it to you here in a second, and then you cue up the video and let us know when it's ready to roll. Harris Tolber is our director. Harris has had a sneak peek on this video. From your sneak peek at what you saw, kind of set the stage as well from your perspective, sir.
All right. So Buddy in this video is using his wheelchair, and he seems very happy, and it's an adorable video. I just watched it beforehand. And yeah, enjoy this video. I'm excited to cue it up.
Okay, cue it up when you're ready, and you're counting us in and out. Harris Tolber, the show is yours, sir.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
And if you just back up now, see if you'll keep following.
I'm still looking at it. We're on a 5-second delay here. I'm still looking at it here. This is inspirational, and you couldn't tell that he is not happy.
Oh, he is the happiest boy alive.
Right.
And everyone who looks at him said, he's 15? And I go, yeah, he's 15.
I love it.
Yeah.
Put into perspective how you go about getting one of these, because you see them from time to time around town.
There are special companies, who create these for dogs. And this particular company George knew about because they have wheelchairs especially for corgis and their special design needs. So it involved us doing the proper measurements, based on the info that the company provides, what they need measurement-wise. And it's not, it's not real difficult, but when it arrived, and George was there to help us put it together, but once you do that, you still have to make the final adjustments so that it's absolutely correct for Buddy. And you don't want his hind end much higher than the front end. His back has to be level. So, and George is, I think, getting a different harness that he thinks will make it work even better. So, but for the first run, he really didn't. He was perfect.
I love it.
Perfect.
I think we should sizzle reel Buddy with Buddy's video, Mary's intro, and that out right there. Thank you, Harris. Ray Cadell, welcome to the show. Jonathan Stevens, welcome to the show. We have folks watching in Northern Virginia, folks watching in North Carolina, and also in Tennessee. Mary, we should introduce our guests.
I think so. So I invited Kat Berard, who is a professional animal communicator, to join us today. She has been a friend. I've never met her exactly until 2 days ago, quite frankly. She flew in from San Antonio. Kat has been donating her services as an animal communicator to Caring for Creatures for quite some years.
Love it.
And often just the saying of an animal communicator, people start to go, "You, that's nuts, you're crazy." And pretty soon you have people looking at you like you have 3 heads or something, and all I suggest is you keep an open mind.
Yes.
Keep an open mind.
And everything in life.
And everything, exactly. Right. And if you want to enhance the relationship you have with your animal companions, you need to understand them better and believe that they understand you. So I felt it would be helpful and important for people to hear from an animal communicator what it is, how it's done, how animals perceive you, and well, Kat knows all of that. So what I'd like to do is throw it to Kat, and you can introduce yourself a little bit as to
welcome to Charlottesville.
What history. Welcome to
Virginia.
Charlottesville. Yeah.
Thank you both.
It's nice to have you.
It is lovely to be up here. And, I grew up in Minnesota. So to come here from San Antonio, which is perpetually in a drought, we're always stage 2 or worse water restrictions. So to get back up here and it's all this live greenery, lush, it's beautiful. So thanks.
Yeah. Our pleasure. Our pleasure.
Yes.
How about the who, what, when, where, why of Kat first, the person, and then we'll talk about the business.
Who, what, when?
The flip book of your life, if you may.
Right. So grew up in Minnesota when I was born. My parents had a 6-month-old Weimaraner pup waiting for me. Thanks very much. And that started, I'm sure it was already in place, but that was the love affair with animals. She was my best friend, and I had everything I could possibly have except the horse, until I hit my 20s. So I always understood animals as being other than it's that dog that lives in your house or lives in your backyard or whatever people are doing with their animals. I've always understood them in a different way. I always felt like the odd kid out. Just didn't fit the norm. But that was okay because I had animal friends. Over the years, I segued into a number of different things involving animals, but stepped into corporate America. I've been a paralegal for many years. I recently stepped back out and am going back to I worked with animals through that whole time. So I've run a dual life, if you will. So I'm just very grateful to be in a position where I can see both sides of. So I understand black and white, 8 shades of gray. I also live on the other side of that, which to me I call the weird and woo-woo.
Okay.
But I say it lovingly.
Okay.
Okay. So, being whatever word you want to put on it. So whether it's intuitive, psychic, empathic, everybody has that. Not everybody recognizes that in themselves. And typically what's happened is that usually by about age 5, people have had that intuitive connection or telepathic connection shut down in them by adults saying, you don't have that imaginary playmate. The dog didn't say that. You didn't see that, whatever, okay? So we tend to, at a young age, disregard what our intuition tells us, what our senses tell us. I consider myself blessed enough that I never really lost that, but I did have to hide it because that wasn't, talking to the dog that's just weird. Well, it's not. And so I'm just very grateful that I've been able to do what I do and help people understand whether it's their animal companion or such as like animals at any rescue group, any situation like that, farm animals, wildlife. They didn't land on the planet with an operating manual. For example, our domestic, companions, they don't have an operating manual for how to live with humans. And I think that we tend to take them for granted is not the right way to put it, but we make a lot of assumptions, and it amazes me sometimes. I was saying this to Mary not too long ago. It amazes me how well animals do living with us, given that there's no operating manual for this. There's no instruction booklet for how to fit into a human family or live with a human, and to understand our, we have our own oddities and our own foibles and all that. And I think it's amazing when you look at how many, many millions of animals there are on the planet, and they really overall do quite well, given we don't give them a whole lot of instruction, So anyway, I have been thrilled to work with Mary over the years, and I am absolutely so in awe and impressed with who Mary is and what Mary has accomplished, and the folks that have helped over the years, the volunteers, the staff, the donors, and then you look at the animals. I just can't say enough good things, but it's just it absolutely amazes me of what has been created out there and continues to go on. And I can tell you, so I arrived on the property Tuesday early evening. I mean, to go onto a property and the energy is so calm and it's peaceful.
So positive.
It is. It really is. And again, to me, that's just a testament to Mary and what she has created and the people who have helped her do that and supported that and the animals that are there. And some of them, maybe many of them, have got some, they've got their issues, not all of them, but some have, have really had a rough start or rough treatment or have just been misunderstood or disrespected or something. And to be in an energy like that, in a space and place like that, I was just amazed. Not again that it wouldn't be, but just wow, that this is the energy that these animals get to come into and live in and recuperate or regenerate or restart or whatever their thing is that they're needing, to do to go to the next step. And whether that is that they stay at Caring for Creatures or, they're adopted. Hopefully they're adopted into a fabulous, whatever that may be, single person, family, whatever. But I mean that just the energy that they get to be in there is amazing.
Love that comment. Why don't we create a sizzle reel here? Let me throw one to her. And then, Mary, I know you have some thoughts you want to relay. This is what I'd like to know, just trying to learn, is how do you foster the relationship with not only, I know you can't help with Mary, but how do you foster the relationship with the animals when you're not on site? How do you do it when you're from San Antonio?
My clientele is worldwide.
Okay.
So there is the work that we do, telepathic communication, is not affected by distance.
Interesting, okay.
Additionally, I work with animals, I work with humans as well on the other side. Distance is not a factor. I don't even need to see a photograph of the animal. I work differently than most professional communicators, just to tell you real quick. I would say maybe half of them, maybe more, work by telephone. I work individually, so I don't meet the animal or the person. That's why I can do my clientele in a worldwide manner. Usually what I do is have the clients send me 2 or 3 photos, and I have some basic instructions I send them to provide me with some basic information about the animal, and then they, give me the list of whatever questions, what's the issue you're dealing with, or a personal message of whatever length, whatever. But I don't need to see the animal because, frankly, the animal has a connection with you. So literally when I receive an email from somebody that they're interested in me having, to do a session with an animal, I'm not communicating with the animal, but I'm already sensing the connection, the energy, what's that animal's personality. And when I'm communicating with them, again, like I start out, I've got a photograph of the animal most of the time, but I'm not sitting there staring at the photograph. I glanced at the photograph. I'm sitting in front of my computer and I start typing because I'm having a conversation with the animal in my head, as if like when you talk to yourself. Only I have a little process I go through. I do a prayer to begin with, and then I call on that animal. But I am doing a mind-to-mind connection or communication with them, so it's a telepathic connection. And I'm literally having the conversation at the same time that I am typing that conversation. So when I get done, I get to email a detailed transcript that's basically a verbatim conversation. Plus, I include my impressions. If I do a body scan, I explain what I pick up about how they're physically feeling, that kind of thing.
Interesting.
That
was good. That offers
Okay.
some insight. Sizzle reel that. Harris Tolber. I'll relay the comments from the guests. Throw it to you. So this right here is from Laura White. CFC is an incredible place. They took 3 of my feral colony friends in 2005 when I moved from Ashford, Virginia to Maryland, and I had no one to take over their care. Once they got to CFC, 2 of them turned into love bugs and were adopted out soon thereafter. The third had a beautiful home at CFC for the rest of his life. Incredible people, incredible place. Mary's doing big time things.
Right.
Susan says cat is the best. She was
Thanks,
able to
Susan.
provide keen insight on Scotch when he first moved up to Connecticut with me and settled into his first ever real home. Cat also helped some friends of mine better understand their pets, including Roscoe, the senior Yorkie in South Carolina, Boo, the senior cat in Fresno, and Isabel. Isabel, the new rescue in San Francisco. Many pets at CFC have also greatly benefited from their ability to help us better understand them and help them find their perfect homes because of Cat. We are extremely fortunate to have Cat as part of the behind-the-scenes team at CFC.
Absolutely.
Sweet. Thanks,
that is
Susan.
So true. And what I am hoping that Kat will share with our folks is your energy, how important it is, how you present your energy or yourself to the animals you come into contact with. I feel that at Caring for Creatures, our volunteers, our staff, everything we do to an animal that comes in with issues is affecting that animal. And we do our best to always present it in a positive way and with patience. But as I started learning about energy, how it works, and that's, if I'm correct, Kat, if not, correct me, it's all the energy thing that you're tuning into. And people need to understand how the animals are perceiving their energy and how it affects them. Mm-hmm. And if you feel it's helpful, Susan mentioned a couple animals. We have a couple of older communications, and that might be something I can share later, some of the responses and what happened with both of these dogs who had serious issues.
Yeah, I think first of all, like I mentioned a little earlier, we make some, I think, really huge assumptions about who animals are and how they, what they know, what they should be doing. I don't know that we necessarily do that to humans. I'm sure we do make some assumptions, but a lot of times, we'll ask someone, who are you? What makes you tick? What makes you happy? Blah, blah, blah. But on the flip side, I don't know that we do that with animals in general. So it's really important to, whether it's your companion for the last 10 years or it's the dog you want to adopt or the cat or the bird or whatever, is to spend a little time just being instead of doing around them. Just sit and be. Literally, if you're gonna go adopt a horse from a horse rescue, go put your chair out in the field and sit with the horse. You don't have to do anything, but if you allow yourself the time to sit and feel, like what do you feel? What do you sense about them? Because I think and certainly, I sound like I'm saying everybody, and I don't mean everybody does this, but we're moving at such a fast pace on this planet these days that I think a lot of the stuff gets lost in the mix of, I'm too busy and I got to get this and there's my to-do list. When you stop and take the time to sit with an animal, you're not just sitting, you're sensing, and you're getting back in connection with yourself as well. Like, where did you lose track of yourself that week or that day or that year? So to sit and be instead of do, and sense, what do you notice in a way that is not a thinking process? So what do you feel? What do you hear? I think also that instead of assuming that a dog needs X or the cat needs Y when you first bring them home, or you get home at the end of the day and you take them out for a walk, or you first connect with them. Are you really connecting with them? Are you distracted? Are you still operating on what went on in the rest of your day? Is it kind of this perfunctory pat the dog, pet the cat, move on? We're so blessed to have animals on this planet, because I can tell you, I just don't think I would do as well on this planet if it was just y'all. Said lovingly.
I say all the time on this show, I like animals more than people. I truly, truly, truly do, because you oftentimes with animals get what you see.
That is such an excellent statement. That is absolutely correct. You look at who animals are, they don't have the mind junk going on. They're not telling stories to themselves. They're not making up stuff. And let me address one of those common fallacies. The dog or the cat is not pottying in the house or on your bed or on the couch or whatever, or chewing your shoes because they're getting back at you.
Right. It's not out of spite.
No,
right.
They don't do that.
Right.
Now, they may be doing it because they're anxious, they're angry, they're scared, there's
or
something. There's a something. Yeah. But it is not I'm going to get back at you. So can we take that one off the table? But yeah, I mean, if that was a young child doing that, wouldn't you stop and ask the child what's wrong? Instead of punishing the child. I mean, I would hope so. So why don't we do this with animals? Mm-hmm. Stop and take a look, and instead of assuming that the animal is trying to get back at you, what is disturbing first of all, how are they feeling? Have you ever asked yourself, how is Rover feeling? Is Rover afraid, nervous, angry, depressed, sad? Lost his best buddy 2 weeks ago. What's going on? Because I think if you don't, and I would say this is true for people as well, if you don't look really first at what's the emotion, what are they operating under? For humans, it is always the thought will create the emotion. It's not the other way around. For animals, it is much like that. Well, what's their thought? They're not sitting there thinking, oh gosh, what if she doesn't come back? Because animals live in the moment. They're in the right now all the time. They are not living in the past. They're not living in the future. They're living now. Does not mean they're not affected by what happened in the past. But they're going to be right now, right now, right now. So, if you're not looking at what is the emotion that's going on behind the behavior, then you're missing the whole point of how do you address what's happening. Because to just try to train a dog out of, whether it's fear, whatever the thing is, and not understand that that's the fear. So if you're trying to train out of the behavior, like I don't want him jumping, so I'm just, why is he jumping? Why is he trying to jump on people? Or why is he nibbling on clothing or whatever? Okay.
When did you? This has my mind going in so many directions. When did you first realize you had the talent or the skill set to communicate with animals and to communicate with people in ways that
it's not mainstream,
right?
But everybody, yes, no, but that's not true. Okay. So I taught communication workshops for a number of years. Around the world. One of the first things I told people was that, first of all, you wouldn't be listening, you wouldn't be interested, you wouldn't be attending, you wouldn't be reading that book if you didn't already have a connection with animals. And I'll take it back to what I said. If you understand, like if you can think back to childhood, did you have the imaginary playmate? Did you have did you have the conversation with your fish? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, and how many, were you able to share that information with an adult? Probably not. If you did, probably they said, well, Jimmy, that's really nice, but you're not, the dog didn't say, well, that's not true.
Right.
The dog did say that to you because you had the telepathic connection. So I don't care if you speak Spanish, you're going to hear it in Spanish. Doesn't mean the dog spoke Spanish. It's your understanding the transfer of energy, data, whatever you want to call it. It can be concepts, thought forms, images in your mind, which is interesting. Like if I image to my dog, don't counter surf, but the image I see is of him jumping up, putting his paws on the counter. I just showed him in my mind what I really don't want him doing, but I showed him what I want him doing. Because animals also understand the images, and a lot of times we'll think something like the cat going to the vet, oh, great, I got to take Susie to the vet this morning. Well, while you're thinking this, and oh yeah, and she hates getting in that crate, and then it's just like, and then she cries the whole, blah, blah, okay. Well, while you're thinking this, that it's always a battle to get the cat in the crate to go to the vet, and it's so, where's the cat? Now under the bed. Why is the cat under the bed? You didn't even pull the crate out of the garage yet. The cat's under the bed because the cat already somehow connected in with those images or your thought. So, and please understand, I'm not saying that animals are sitting around reading your mind all day. They're not. They don't care. But if you're connecting with them or connecting about them, that information is available in certain ways for them to key into. And if it's about them, they got it. Does that mean they're going to do everything that you always ask them to do or not to? No, they have free will just like we do. So again, stop a minute and ask, what is behind the behavior? What's the thing? Why are they doing what they're doing instead of just going from that behavior is not acceptable to me. Well, sure, you can maybe train it out of them, but you never addressed what was the issue behind it. What's the emotion behind it?
Love it. Your thoughts on this, Mary?
Yeah, I can say without question that in my years of working with the animals that things just come to me, and sometimes it surprises me. And one example, even though I'm very open to it and want to, it's just sometimes my brain seems like it's going in 25 different directions. So how do I clear it to hear something else? Anyway, I remember many, many years ago at the sanctuary, and I was walking from one set of pens towards another, and clear as a bell, I heard in my head, I need to be up front. I stopped dead in my tracks, and I went, somebody just said that to me, and I know it was one of these dogs. I need to be up front. I turned around, and there was 3 different pens. In the middle pen was one dog standing there staring at me, and her name was Echo. And I went, okay, I got that. I said, let me work on that. And I did end up moving her into a front pen across from the office because she knew she needed to be up there. And it didn't matter necessarily to me why, but it was important to her. And so I made sure that happened. So it's very simple things. And my dog Charlie, as crazy as he can be, and Kat can attest to that, I used to put Kongs in the freezer for him when he was much younger because he likes to chew things. And I'd get busy and forget about it, and all of a sudden, like clockwork, it's 7 o'clock in the evening or whatever, wherever I was, he'd just come and stare at me. And I go, hey, Charlie, and he just stands there staring at me. And then I'm like, what? And then all of a sudden I go, right, your Kong. I forgot it's time for your Kong. So I'd get up and go to the freezer and get, those little things, you are connecting.
My dogs do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're connecting. So if you can take that little leap and move it to the next level, you're going to enhance your relationship. You're going to be able to improve your relationship. And it'll just be, win-win.
You tell an amazing story, and you've said it a couple times, and I love this story. Was it Baron, your German Shepherd, who someone came into the office at Caring for Creatures? And it was Baron, right? Mm-hmm. And Baron was communicating with you about uncertainty of this particular gentleman who came into your office and said, and I'm paraphrasing, and I don't want to paraphrase incorrectly, something along the lines of, his energy or his motives and mission don't align with our motives and mission, Mary.
Yeah, and that's, in essence, it was not I that got that, but a communicator, my sister.
Yeah.
And
you found out to be correct.
It was correct. I mean, this dog was an amazing dog, and I was blessed to have him in my life, and I've learned a lot from him.
Was that your number one?
No, my second.
Well, no, number one dog. I mean, do you have a favorite? Like Leo is mine. I've had 3
dogs.
I
see. Every time I think I have a favorite, someone moves into that position.
Really?
Yeah. After the one's gone, like, okay, you're my new favorite. You're all my favorites, but
never had a favorite?
No, I would have to, if I have to choose one, I'm going to pick Amy, my very first. She was my very first dog.
Yeah.
She helped me start caring for creatures. She was with me through some of the darkest moments. And from a pup at 6 months of age, this dog acted and was like some very old soul. She just knew things and just helped me through every step I had to make that was fearful. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine why, speaking of the story you were mentioning, Baron was growling at this person. And I went, oh, geez. Because he came in with some of his own issues, and I adopted him from CFC, but related to men. And so I asked my sister sometime later, saying, can you ask him why he growled at this person like he did? And in essence, it was, his agenda was not in alignment with caring for creatures. And I'm here to protect caring for creatures and all that it stands for. Right. And that's why I was letting you know this person was inappropriate for you to do something with. So I was like, huh. Well, and I found out to be true. And I'm like, he was just so way ahead of me.
They're master teachers. It's just so much more than a companion. A lot of times, if you look at the animals that you end up with over your lifetime, each one of them came into your life for a reason, just as you crossed their path for a reason. They're here to teach. We're here to learn. We're here to teach. They're here to learn. I've had people, horrifyingly, I've had more than one person call me and say, another animal communicator told me that my dog is sick with X because I have X, and that I gave my dog X. I said, no. That's not how this works. It's much, much, much more likely, because I don't believe that that's a possibility at all. We don't pick up, sure, a contagious disease, one thing, but you're not picking up, lupus, okay? I'm not picking up lupus from my roommate or my husband or my partner or whatever. What? No. So why would the animal be picking up just because, okay, but I think it's much, much more likely you have an energy pattern. You came in with this energy pattern. That illness, for whatever reason, was in your path for whatever. Isn't it totally possible that the animal that came into your life that has a similar thing? So whether it's, physical, mental, emotional, doesn't matter. If they have an issue that looks like it's similar to yours, isn't it possible that the reason you're together is because of the similarity and to help each other through that and learn from each other, versus I gave my dog X disease because I have it? I got to clear the deck on that one. It drives me crazy. That's not realistic. It's not possible. But I absolutely think that, yes, it could be because there's a pattern, an energetic pattern that you recognize in each other, and your paths have crossed for whatever reason, divine intervention or otherwise, or soul power, I don't know, I don't care. But if you look at why are they with you, why are you with them? It's way bigger than companionship. And I don't care if your companion is a gerbil or a parakeet or, a cat or a horse. I don't care. It's look at who they are as a soul. Animals are sentient beings. They're not just, a body that's a soul inhabiting that particular body shape and species, appropriate behavior, etc.
It seems like one of the key aspects is the ability, the willingness to listen and to have an open mind.
Open mind would be absolutely the biggest thing. We know what a dog is supposed to do, but who decided what the dog was supposed to do? And where along the line did dogs suddenly get out of the loop? Like, it's not okay for the dog to dig in your garden. Well, what do dogs do? Right. Did you leave an area for them to dig in your yard? Why do you have it? What are we doing? And I'm not picking, please understand. I've had dogs my whole life, along with all these other species, and I get it. But if you can't provide that, in your backyard, can you take them down the street? Is there something, how do you allow them to be who they are as a species, as well as the individual, personality, soul, whatever? How do you let them be who they are, recognize, honor, support that, and help them learn and understand how to work with you? And sometimes, a lot of times, frankly, I think by the time people get to me for like a communication session, and I'm talking animals that are still alive versus ones in spirit, but a lot of times, one of the things I make clear in my instruction packet to a client is that sometimes it's not the animal, sometimes it's you. Like, maybe you need to take a look at, and need's not the right word. I make suggestions, I make recommendations. I don't tell people they need to do anything. Because at the end of the day, I mean, we all have free will. But if you aren't willing
Exactly.
to look at what's your portion of this, because it is not ever 100% ever the animal. So you always have some factor in that equation. You might be 80% of the issue, frankly, and all they're doing is responding to how you're presenting, or what's the environment you've created, or what's going on in the home, or what has changed in your life. What's your stress level? There's so many factors that can affect them, just like they would affect if you had, again, a partner, a roommate, a kid. We each, whether you're animal or human, we feel each other's energy.
Absolutely.
So if you're not paying attention, you're just bumping into that energy, but you're not noticing it. So you're not honoring it. So you're not understanding or interacting or exploring. You're not asking, you're assuming. Well, then those assumptions of themselves can cause the issues with the animal.
You wanted to highlight some things
Yes.
you have with you.
I have a couple of cats typed out transcripts from a couple of dogs from years ago that she helped us with. And I just thought it would be fun to give you a little bit of background, some of how Kat approached what the issue was and what the dog conveyed back to Kat. So you get a feel for what she might get from some of these animals. The first dog I'll talk about is Polly. And Polly came to us from a high kill facility. It's a pit bull mix of sorts. And what was so fascinating, Polly, we were told while at the shelter, was very laid back and calm and easygoing, et cetera. So I went, great, that's perfect. So we agreed to take him. And within 10 minutes of getting at Caring for Creatures, it's like his mind said, yay, I'm free to be who I am, and proceeded to start tearing at clothes, grabbing arms, grabbing leashes, pulling, grabbing, anything you can think of that's not pleasant to experience. He was doing it. So we yikes.
Right.
So, all right, we have some work to do here. So Ashleigh Morris, the trainer, would come out. And in the end, I only had probably 3 volunteers who were willing to even work with him. The staff, of course, had to go in and feed and clean and all that every day. But so Polly, and this was, so I sent some questions to Kat. And she right here is introducing herself to Polly. My name is Kat, and I'm an animal communicator. Mary has asked me to communicate with you today on her behalf and on behalf of those who come to visit and work with you and walk you. How are you today, Polly? And she gets back, hi, you are Kat, ? Puzzled a bit about the connection. So
he had
what
no
does he
idea.
say? He
He had no idea where I
coming from.
was,
Yeah.
and it's very possible that nobody had ever really communicated with him in that way, in a
Given him the
telepathic
time.
way, basically,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. So you can stand there and talk at an animal, but are you connecting with? Very different. So and then yes, of course, there's no physical body for him, so he doesn't have any idea where that's coming from. Right. Most animals, when I connect with them, are just fine with that. I mean, because although I can be a very direct, strong personality person, when I connect with an animal, it's always I do my best always for that to be kind of a neutral, calm connection, because I always know something about the animal beforehand. But I could be working with a very afraid. I could be working with an animal who's dying. So I always come in with a soft approach. But yeah, he had no idea what was this.
Yeah. Who are you? Where are you?
Yeah.
You're not here. So I had given some questions to Kat to ask of Polly. And we wanted to know a little bit about him. And so one of question was, please tell me about your life before coming to be there with Mary and the others. And then she says, please convey to me where and how you lived and who you lived with. I was not sure where I fit in, how I belonged, where I was. It was not always a happy place to be, and there were some times of very big noise, yelling, arguments, fighting, and I did not like that. Kat saying, parentheses, he conveys to me that there were 3 other dogs, 2 larger dogs about his size and a smaller dog. The dogs were yelled at a lot for doing what dogs do, including being underfoot when people were outside with them. Naturally, the dogs were wanting attention and interaction with the humans, but the humans weren't very patient at all about the excitement the dogs exhibited. Dogs were often left outside for long periods of time. So he went through some of the basics of this was what my experience was. So we had an idea of where he was coming from. And then another question, Mary asked, Polly, what are you trying to tell us when you bite at and tug on the leash, grab at clothing, dart at our feet, jump on us, and run in circles? And he said, I am happy, but nervous, anxious cat. I don't really know what they want me to do or what will happen next. And Cat says, note, in other words, he is feeling keyed up with anxiety, anticipation, uncertainty, and is not able to be very still or quiet and wait patiently for the next thing to occur. He is also happy for the attention and that he is going to get to do something at that moment. He is literally expending an anxious energy in his movements. So she went on a little bit more and a lot, and this was interesting, and I won't read all of this, of course, but she went through what is okay and what humans think is best if he could do that. And she had 2 different rules for him to follow related to these. And he says, okay, I will have to remember these, Cat, because it is not what I am doing when humans come to see me. I just want to go and do and go and do and go and do. So we continued to work with Polly, and I want to express his final happy ending because Polly did get adopted, and with an adopter.
We're getting a lot of people saying they love Polly on the stream
know,
right now.
Polly is so wonderful.
Yeah.
But we have some pictures maybe up of Polly?
I think,
don't know.
Harris, you got
Has he
Polly
got some?
pictures? Yeah.
Okay, so the home he went to, they brought one of the dogs, and we introed to Polly. They did really well. And so they lived in Pennsylvania, so he drove Polly back to Pennsylvania. These folks were really perfect for Polly because they're into training and helping their dogs understand. And so they took Polly to several different levels of training classes, and he excelled. And I have one picture there of him sitting nicely in this group of 15 dogs or whatever it is. I don't know if that picture will come up. And I go, you go, Polly. Man, oh, look how you came in, and look what you're doing now. All that potential was finally realized, you know. So Kat helped us understand why he was, that's Polly, why he was behaving the way he was. And if we understood it, and then Ashleigh, the trainer, helped us understand how to work with him physically to get his cooperation in a positive way. So we at least could get him to a point where he was good to go on an adoption. So that was wonderful.
Well, and I think a lot of it too, you know, we're all busy. Mm-hmm. But you wouldn't, I would hope, you wouldn't have a child. I don't care if you're homeschooling. I don't care, but you're not going to leave them sit there and kind of go, well, here, I'm going to teach you a little from kindergarten. I'll catch you again in 10th grade. Oh, and then you're out the door, and good luck at high school, like your senior year. And then I assume you're going to college, but we don't leave children on their own. You know, it doesn't matter if it's a dog, a cat, a horse, a bird. It doesn't matter. Some of those species, what's appropriate to help them? How do you help them be their best selves? So it isn't, to me, it isn't even as much as make this my, perfect companion for me as how do I help that animal be who they are.
The best version of his or herself.
Correct.
I totally get it.
Without training into a box, so to speak. But how do I help that bird be happier? What is stimulating for a bird? What energizes? What mentally? What do they need? Because we can put animals in cages or backyards or in our house or whatever, but what are you doing to help them grow? How do you help them not stagnate? Why do you think issues come up? A lot of times it's because they're bored, or they're not getting enough attention, or they're whatever, or there's stress in the house, or there's something, okay? Because their environment will have a lot to do with that behavior as well. Right. It isn't just simply, oh, that's a poorly behaved dog. Really? Well, what have you done to help him or her be best? How do they how do they expend their energy every day? Are you walking them every day? Are you exercising them every day? Okay, it's not about us being lazy. It's they literally need that to because they, you know, they're not driving a car and going to the grocery store and getting to the mailbox. I mean, they don't have that option. So are you working with them to give them, you know, exercise? And the exercise is not simply, you know, keep their muscle stamina strong. It's
their mind.
How do you expend energy? How do you and I don't care if that dog is 15 years old, if they can go half a block and back and that makes them happy because they got to sniff everything along the way. Do it. It's just that energy release, you know, and it's a stress reliever.
Laura White says, so much great insight into animal behavior and animal connection on today's show. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
You can find the show archived on caringforcreatures.org.
Yep.
Did a great job.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Caringforcreatures.org, and Mary's team does a good job of getting the content out on its Facebook page and its e-newsletter. I encourage you to also follow Kat on Facebook. Give me your Facebook page. And in fact, I have it right here. It's
it's I will tell you, I'm, you know,
not on Facebook often?
No, I'm not on Facebook often, but I absolutely, you can go to Facebook. It will just take you back to my website. So really, if you want to start with my website,
that's a good point.
Might be better.
Okay, what's the URL?
www.Berard, B as in boy, ERARD, D as in David.com.
You own your
I
namesake
do.
URL.
I do.
I'm so impressed.
Well, because,
as someone who's in advertising, I love when that happens.
You guys, seriously, I sat there with a dear friend of mine. I was like, I'm not kidding, for a good 6 months, I'm like, what's my business name? What's my business name?
It's you.
I finally went, this is stupid.
Yeah.
I said, Berard.com. Then I was like,
oh my gosh,
but
it's
what's
available.
My business name? Well, because Berard. It's
a unique last name.
Well, but then I did come up with a business name. So it's Catalyst with a K for Animal Wholeness Inc. But that took another 6 months. It was the stupidest.
Well, the fact that you own your URL, I'm just blown away by that. That's impressive, Kat. I love that. Anything else you would like to add, Mary?
No, I don't think so. I just think, I know.
Come
believe
visit.
I would not say, well, no, actually.
You make it easy.
I was talking
You're
about
a good communicator.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but
55 minutes in.
Thank you. They need to come to Caring for Creatures. Come visit. Come walk a dog. Come pet a cat, please. Yeah.
Visit.
Help.
Contribute. Support.
Matching gifts.
Share. Matching gifts. Guys, Caring for Creatures needs your help. Caringforcreatures.org. Mary's been doing this for over 30 years. And it's Central Virginia's first no-kill animal sanctuary. It's in Fluvanna County. Animals from across the eastern seaboard are given a second shot at life. Animals on kill lists brought to Central Virginia to rehome. Doesn't get any better than that. You crushed it.
Thank you.
Great.
This was great. Thanks, guys.
Yes. Who do we have next week? Do we know? Is that might be the toughest question I asked you right there.
Throw that out at me.
Sorry, Mary.
No, we're doing a training class next
Okay,
week.
with Ashleigh. Ashleigh is going to join us for training. These have been very successful. Join us next week, Thursdays at 3 o'clock for the Caring for Creatures show on the I Love Seville Network. Thank you for joining us. Good job, Kat.
Thanks. That was fun. Yes. My gosh, you guys, I haven't done an interview in a bazillion and a half years.
It was amazing. It was easy. You're a good communicator.
She is.
Well, but you know how it is. It's like on any topic, right? You get going, you're like, oh, wait, crap, I should have said,
Yeah, but it's so easy when it's what you know and you're an expert on, which is you, right?